Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to Mankato West High School for this live wrestling duel between the Cougars of Mankato East and the host Scarlets of Mankato West. We want to welcome those watching this broadcast streaming live on accessktv.org/sports. My name is Don Kruzmark, and my broadcast partner is longtime wrestler and wrestling coach Bill Dubon. And Bill, this is the first dual meet for both teams coming out of holiday break. What do you look for tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a real close match, Don. I think both these teams have some good individuals, but the matchups aren't ideal for either team, so it could come down to 7 wins for each team. It'll be an interesting goal. And like you said, coming out of the break, people are different weights maybe than they want to be. And East has had a long layoff. Some of their schedule got kind of messed up with weather and missed a tournament here or there. And so it's going to be an interesting outcome.
Yeah, and like you said, East is limited in their matches so far. And as we go through the meet, you're going to see a lot of the wrestlers have minimal records. Under 10 wins. For a lot of those guys. Or 10 matches for a lot of those guys. And so, it's going to be interesting to see, and the holiday break is such a big deal. You got to stay in shape, and you really, since wrestling is a sport with weight classes, you got to watch your weight a little bit, and sometimes that's hard to do during the holiday break.
Well, it certainly is, and East, I think they've had 6 matches total this season. And some of the West boys have wrestled a lot of matches, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. I guess you could say the East kids might be a little more fresh, but as you said, how hard did they work during the season? And that holiday break, as you said, they might not be on par, so we'll see what happens.
Yep, hold a little closer.
All right, we got it. All right.
Let's talk about the rivalry, with East-West. You and I, we coached for a lot of years at Mankato West High School, and this was one of the big meets that we always look forward to. It's one that you circle. You look at your schedule year by year, and this is the one that you circle.
Yeah, and sometimes you think, West is going to win or East is going to win, but it doesn't come out that way. And, since 1975, I think these teams have met about 48 times. And I think West has won 36 and East has won 12. And, last few years they've been pretty even. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
But, a lot of those wins on either side were close wins.
Oh, very close.
It's a typical East-West rivalry. You're going to see some, some good wrestling from both schools. Both schools have good wrestlers. But, a lot of times it comes down to shuffling in the weights,
right.
Weight classes, and sometimes you need some luck.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see the coaches before the match. They were trying to figure out, where am I going to put this guy, and who's going to win the flip, and what weights do people go out. And I think East wanted to have the choice on odd matches, and I think West wanted even matches, and they might have both got what they wanted. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. You're looking at two teams, crosstown rivals, but a lot of these kids, do summer wrestling, and they will work out, and a lot of times during summer they work out together.
Right. Well, we're going to do the national anthem under the direction of Brady Kruzmark.
Just kind of like that.
Well done. Well, we're under the main light here tonight, Don, and by the way, that Brady Kruzmark, that's Don's son, and I have to say it was a very fine job by the pep band.
Well, Bill, tonight's broadcast is a broadcast of KTV Sports, brought to you by BLC Studios, a division of Bethany Lutheran College. And to learn more, go to blc.edu.
Well, tonight's match is officiated by Bruce Barrett from Owatonna, and he's been around a little bit. He does a lot of Section 1 matches, and he's experienced official, so we have a good official tonight. It is kind of a rivalry night, too, in the Big Nine. Tonight, Owatonna is wrestling Albert Lee, and the likely outcome of that match will be probably the Big Nine champ. Well, here we are, getting started at 106.
All right, coming out of the chute, Bill, we've got from Mankato East, we got Chase Groh, who's a junior, and we've got going up against Gannon Rosenfeld, a seventh grader from Mankato West.
Yeah, a little bit of experience difference between the two. West has kind of lost that slot what they had with Charlie at 106 last year. He's moved up a weight or two, but they got some young guys to fill these slots, and we should have a match in every weight tonight. Maybe we might have one forfeit. So looking down the lineup, it's like we said, it's going to be pretty close.
Well, Chase Groh came out and got a takedown right away, and is doing a pretty good job of controlling the hands or the arms of Rosenfeld.
Looks like he's trying to run a chicken wing, maybe a double there.
Yeah, double arm bar on top.
A lot of pressure on the hips.
And we might as well talk about that right now. Good wrestlers will control two things mostly. It's hands and hips. And Bill, why did they stop that?
He took that shoulder joint up near the ear a little too high, and we don't want to hurt these guys. Maybe in college they'd let that go, but not in high school.
Right.
And that's potentially dangerous.
Right.
It's not a point.
Yep. Any move that goes against a joint is going to be called potentially dangerous.
Right. Exactly.
And good officials will stop it like Mr. Barrett did.
And now he's running a tight waist there with a head lever. So he really knows how to ride. It comes with experience. Now, if this were college, he'd be getting riding time. High school, they don't do that.
Right.
There's nothing like a good ride to control your opponent.
Right, and you can notice the pressure that he's keeping on Rosenfeld's hips.
Yeah.
So essentially, the West wrestler is trying to lift not only his own body weight, but the East body weight too.
Yeah, he's gonna have a hard time fighting this series off. He took that too far. That might be could be called. That was potentially an illegal hold. He kind of forced it, but that again, going against the joint, you can't do that. He just got warned a little bit there. Next time, he'd probably give him a penalty for that. But this young wrestler's arms aren't developed enough to fight off the older wrestler. That guy really sews him up. That's a good ride by Groh. Coach John Dirks, this is I think it's his fifth season at his fourth or fifth season, and he really stresses fundamentals. You can see it in their wrestlers.
Yeah, and let's talk about John a little bit. East grad, also went on to MSU.
And I believe he was an All-American.
He was an All-American at MSU.
Wrestler.
Yes, he was. So he's very knowledgeable about the sport, and he does a nice job with those kids.
And of course, he grew up with wrestling. His dad was a coach at East, and now that situation, you can choose to let him go instead of getting on top. So it's an automatic point for the West wrestler. And then John, of course, has quite an experienced staff behind him, including one of our old wrestlers. I'm trying to look and see if there's Jeremy over there now. I was kind of wondering where he's at. Jeremy Berger's there, and a number of other wrestlers that have been in the East program helping him out.
And Groh's going a little bit of escape takedown match is what he's looking at right now. He's trying to rack up some points.
Yeah, loosen it up a little bit and maybe go for. I always thought you could get the guy on his back easier from his feet than trying to turn him on their base. It's easier to get to that fall position sometimes off a takedown. And that might be what he's working at.
Groh's doing a nice job of controlling things on his feet. He's stalking right now.
Yeah, good body position.
Yep, and good hand position. His elbows are in. When he does lock up or tie up with Rosenfeld, he's moving him. He's just not tying up just to tie up.
Look at this. We got kind of an exciting change of events here.
We do.
Wow. Maybe this seventh grader's a little stronger than I estimated.
Yeah, that's a nice movement by Rosenfeld.
Yeah.
Did a nice job of turning and being able to come out there. And I
good
think
balance.
in my opinion, I think Groh got a little over aggressive in that one,
Yeah.
and was looking for something that maybe wasn't there.
Yeah, that could well be. Now, but on the other side for Rosenfeld, for a seventh grader, he's got some pretty good skills. Looks like he's going to get a technical violation and a reversal against him.
And what was the technical violation for, Bill?
Well, you can't lock hands around the body when you're riding, and I don't know that he intended to. It just kind of happened to him, but there he is with his arm sewed up again. That's a terrible spot to be in. I wouldn't want to be there myself. Whoop. Because kid's pretty flexible on the bottom. He's going to fight that going over as much as he can. Pretty frustrating for the top guy with a guy with kind of limber shoulder
yeah,
like that.
and it is. And you can see that shoulder is limber than most people, and well, it is frustrating.
Okay, now with a caution, you can get three of those. The third one's a penalty, so you get 2 freebies, and that's when you don't start in the right position or you jump the gun.
And that's first caution against Mankato West.
Right. Well, still a pretty competitive match, 7-4 going into the third period. Well, I'm not sure what Rosenfeld's record is this year, but Groh is, like you said, a junior. They haven't had a lot of matches, but
Yep. Yeah, Rosenfeld has a record of 1-4 coming into this duel.
right. And the competition, these teams, they've seen kind of up and down different schools. East has wrestled some tough teams, and so some of these records might be deceptive. In fact, looking at East, I got to look at their schedule here, but I believe they take a look at it here. Digging through my notes.
East coming in with a 1-5 record. West is in here with a 1-2 record so far. With beat John Marshall. West beat John Marshall in a dual meet and then lost to Northfield Owatonna when they went to Northfield in a triangular. And so not a whole lot of action so far for either team, actually. And,
no, it's kind of early season yet. But talking about East, they lost to Westfield 49-24, and I had to look at that. Who is Westfield? Well, it's a new school pairing of Hayfield and Blooming Prairie, and they're not too bad an outfit. And then they beat St. Clair 66-14. You might have mentioned that, and lost to Maple River 47-15. And then they lost to Austin 48-36, and Hutchinson 39-27. Hutchinson's a ranked team, and then they had to take on Scott West, ranked number 2 in Class AA. So East has had some tough dual meets. So that 1-5 is a little deceptive.
We got 15 seconds left here in the third period. We got 10-4 score with Groh over Rosenfeld.
And I'm not sure if this isn't a victory for West in some respects with a upperclassman wrestling a 7th grader. So that's only a 3-point decision.
3-point decision. We have final score. We have Chase Groh, 11-4 decision over Gannon Rosenfeld. And like you said, East might have been looking for a little more than that, but a win is a win. In dual meet action, Bill, the only people that win get the points. So you try to do anything to get some points in there, get on your side.
Yeah, and it's a little bit. Well, looks like West is going to get a forfeit at 113. Looks like East is doing some juggling.
And that was David Cruz, 8th grader.
It's his first match.
8th grader that came out for Mankato West. So who do we have here at
we have Wyatt Block
120?
against, and I didn't hear the East wrestler.
Noah Parrish.
Noah Parrish, and he's one of their better wrestlers. This could be a marquee match right here.
Yeah, we've got Wyatt Block.
And Wyatt's a tough kid. He's had a pretty good season so far. It's like he's got a single leg, or he's got a. Well, that was a little premature on that call. I wonder if he'll wave it off. Oh, he gave it to him. Oh, 2-2. Hold on.
West coaches
I
are
don't know if that
questioning a
should have
little
been
bit.
any points for anybody. It was a little premature. He had a near side cradle locked up, but I don't know that he had the control. Did you see his knees touch for the East kid?
I didn't.
Yeah.
But we're here. We got Wyatt Block. He's an 8th grader, and he's got a 6-4 record with 4 falls against Noah Parrish. And Noah Parrish is a sophomore with an 8-1 record right now.
Noah's one of their better wrestlers.
Yeah, I believe he was a section place winner last year.
Yes, he was.
And as we go through the duel, Bill, you're going to find East strength is in the lower weights.
Right.
Whereas West, they're kind of scattered a little bit. They've got some little strength in the lower weights and also in the upper weights, which might be an advantage for West later on in the meet.
Now I think the team score on the scoreboard's wrong. West should be up 9-0. Is that correct, Don?
No, 6-3.
6-3. Oh, that's correct. That's right. That's right. The duel, the 106 was East victory. That's right.
And we got a stoppage in action here. I'm not exactly sure why.
If it's blood or no, something was amiss.
Yep. So we'll get a fresh start here with Parrish on top.
That's a caution for each of them, I believe. So. Yeah, I'm still not sure on that takedown series what happened there.
Wyatt Block did a nice job of coming up there, but you got to grab some hands when you come up. If you don't grab hands, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good to get to your knees or to come up even farther than that.
And you post those arms out, they'll grab them.
Right, and it just allows, with the arms out like that, it just allows the top wrestler to be able to come with a deep waist or come across your legs and break you back down.
Well, that was a nice scramble. He might get one here if he can get those hips free. No, he's not going to get it. But he threw a pretty good. Oh, he gave him one.
Did get one.
Wow.
Did get one.
Well,
that was a nice effort by Block.
It was a very good effort.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Sometimes that might go the other way because he did have him around the thighs with the arms. But, he got his hips out, good cross face. Maybe it kind of evens out after that first period, or the beginning of that period. It's kind of where they should be at this point.
Parrish is doing a nice job of controlling the hands.
He is. He's got his hands.
Yes, he does. And Block is going to have to work a little bit harder to be able to control, be able to gain some control, because it's just a lot easier if you can control the hands. Yeah. Nice double leg takedown. Yeah. Did a nice job of bringing the hips to the party on that one.
Yeah, I think Block got overpowered on that one. He couldn't quite get his hips back, and they're right to run that wing series. Watch that. That's a little too far.
Now the key is you can't. The referee's looking pretty hard because he's going forward. He had a tendency to go forward with that, and you can't. You got to go across the back, right?
Yeah, and he did call it at the end there, at the end of the period, potentially dangerous. Well, you can see what East has been working on for their rides. They like to run that wing series. And perhaps it's those guys in the same weights kind of do the same things in practice, too.
Yep.
You know how that goes.
And that was the end of the first period, and we've got Parrish is up 4-3 over Wyatt Block. At the start of the second period, we've got Block is taken down position, and Parrish is in the offensive position or the top position.
Well, he's doing a nice job of getting his hips out, Block is. And there's a headlock. That kind of came out of that hip position he had. Wow, that's a big reversal there. He pinned a pretty good wrestler, what Block did. That's a pretty big event for us at West.
That was a huge win for Mankato West on that one. Wyatt Block caught Noah Parrish with a headlock and was able to finish it, and that was huge. And he set that up by doing a nice stand-up, getting his hips out, and then just came back and didn't quit. We see a lot of people are going to quit. Once they get one, they relax. He did not do that.
Exactly.
He came back and was able to get a takedown, able to get a fall.
Now, here we have the number one ranked wrestler at 113 pounds. And he's wrestling one of the best wrestlers for East, Shang Haley, who's been there. They're only senior. And he's also, I think, a section place winner last year for East.
And Haley is a senior with a 6-3 record. And like you said, he was a section place winner last year. And Charlie Piquel, just a freshman, but returning state champion. He's a very talented freshman.
Now, early this season, Charlie's been in some real tough tournaments. He's been second in a couple tournaments. I think he's got 2 losses on the season.
He's 11-3.
He's got 3 losses with 6 falls. But, you know, he's wrestled some Shakopee wrestler up at the tournament up on the Red River, Rumble on the Red. And
that Shakopee wrestler.
Shakopee wrestler is real good.
Well, he's ranked #1 in the nation for a reason.
Yeah, and it was a decision. It wasn't a pinfall.
Yeah, it was a 5-2 decision.
Right. And, you know, Charlie did get down to 113 for that tournament. And he's up here at 126. He weighed in at 122. But I think his place will be 113 this year.
How big a deal is it to be wrestling up a weight?
Well, we saw him do that a few times last year, and it does diminish his abilities. But you can see he runs that duck under on almost anybody. And, you know, his dad wrestled for us. He was a pretty good wrestler, too. And Charlie's kind of following and maybe making his dad look a little better than his dad. You know, Charlie, I think, has significant number of victories already in his career. So I think I have a note here how many he has, but he's been pretty successful.
I think he's just surpassed 50 victories.
I think he has,
if I'm not mistaken. Yep. But like you said, Heath Piquel, you know, Charlie's dad, was a wrestler for us back in the 90s and was a very good wrestler for us. So it's a good bloodline we've got going here.
Yeah, it is. In fact, there's a couple of wrestlers. There's a Mueller wrestler coming up here in the middleweights wrestled for West back in our day.
Okay, end of the first period. We've got a 6-2 score in favor of Charlie Piquel from Mankato West over Shang Haley.
And Piquel's making this look like a runaway, but Shang is a good wrestler. And you know, it's kind of a measure of where Charlie's at. But, you know, he can't get cocky. We saw it happen in a match just down below weight. And, you know, you got to be ready because Shang's not going to just lay down for him. So, and you got to be on your best skills all the time. Don't take a break.
Haley did a nice job of getting his hips out. Came into a half, like a half a stand-up, got his hips out, and was able to get that one-point escape.
He just did a nice step behind there. Charlie did.
You know, the thing I liked about Piquel right there, he was working with the hands and whatnot, but when he got into it and wanted to finish that double he just did, he lowered his level. And he was able to do that. And that's very effective.
And he's got his hips tight with a leg in, but he's not going to just sit on it. He's working for a fall off this. Shang's a little bigger than he is. Might be difficult to do.
And you're always worried about getting too high with the legs in there. You don't want to be getting too high, which just happened right there. And you can kind of see it slip a little bit. Yep. Wasn't able to keep his leg in as deep as he wanted to, and consequently, Haley was just able to come right out.
Well, that was a classic stand-up, using hand control, hips out, leg under. He did that right. Well, that was nice action by Shang. That looked good.
You know, Haley going out there and, he knows he's wrestling a state champion. He's not backing down at all, is he?
And Shang will be around at the end of the season. He'll be making waves.
KTV is your home for community interest programming and local sports coverage. Like KTV on Facebook at www.facebook.com/accesskTV.
Okay, we're getting late into the second period, and it's a pretty close match, actually, 7-4 with Piquel ahead of Haley. This is probably going to be one of the premier matches tonight. We have some more good wrestlers coming up. We got another block coming up who's had a pretty good season himself. We'll be talking about him in the next match. He does move well on his feet, doesn't he?
And that's the end of the second period. We've got a 9-4 score in favor of Charlie Piquel over Shang Haley. And this is another pivotal match. In my estimation, another pivotal match for Mankato East. You know, it's their own lone senior, like you said. I think in most duels, they're looking for a win out of Shang Haley.
Yeah, and I think West kind of got the matchup they wanted here. Charlie could have gone 120, but I think they had designs on this match all along. And, you know, they want Charlie to wrestle the best guy they can. In fact, they kind of designed going up to that Rumble on the Red in Fargo over Christmas break with a couple of wrestlers in mind, Charlie and Zach Jakes up there at 220, and they both shined up there. Josh Block also wrestled in that. We'll talk about him, like I said, in a little bit. So West has had some good competition. There's some good action out there. Well, they're going to go for a big, oh boy, that could have been dangerous.
Yeah, you can see that both of them have had a little experience in upper body throws, little Greco throws.
Yeah, and they're smart enough not to go too far with it.
Right, right.
Well, Shang is still going up. Charlie's going to pick neutral.
Yep, Charlie's going to let him go, get the escape. We've got 11-4 score. We got a minute 25 to go in the third period.
So another takedown, Charlie would have a major. No, not quite. It's 11-5. Okay. Well, yeah. Yep, he will.
That's the major right there.
Okay, there it is. He's not going to be satisfied. He's going to keep going. So Dustin Butel, we haven't talked about him. He's the head coach at West. He's in his 4th season, and he's had some pretty good success with some individuals over the last few years, having two state place winners, of champion and a runner-up last year. Pretty impressive. In fact, Charlie's our first state champion since I think 1997, if I'm correct, Don, where we had 2 of them with.
Julio Alanis and Eric Hoffman.
Eric Hoffman in 100 and
back
then it was 103, and Julio wrestled
119.
119.
Yep.
And it's been a long time since we were able to have another champion. East had a state champion last year, and they sorely miss him. And I'm not sure if he's wrestling at Augustana. I think he played football.
He's playing football there.
Logan Swanson, a tremendous athlete they had. But we got kind of a guillotine situation. Legs, Turk.
And getting the count, getting the swipes.
He's going to not quite get to a tech fall, but.
And there we go.
18 to.
And a 2-point near fall makes the final score 17-6. Charlie Piquel over Shang Haley from Mankato East.
Now we're going to have to listen, see who gets put out here.
And that makes the team score Mankato West Scarlet 16, Mankato East Cougars 3, going into 132.
Okay, here we have Josh. Okay, this is another marquee matchup. Nick's pretty good, too.
And we've got Nick Byers Jr. Comes in here with an 8-2 record. And that's a very fine record. And then we have Josh Block from Mankato West, also junior. And Josh's record at this point is 11-3 with 4 falls.
And, you know, he went 3-2 up at the Rumble on the Red. And he's now I believe he's over 75 wins in his career. And I think he just did that up at the tournament up in Fargo. And he's been just kind of solid for West over the years.
Yes, he has. And, you know, we've been lucky to be able to watch a lot of these West guys over the years. Yeah. And I think out of majority of those wrestlers, Josh Block is one of the people that have shown the most improvement.
He has. He's taken his lumps, but he's had a lot of varsity matches. And, like I said, he's kind of filled in for West. Has been solid all those years. So it's kind of fun to have the brothers, the Block brothers. And then we have some brothers on the East team. We have Parrish brothers, right? There's 2 Parrishes and 2 Byers. Is that correct?
Yep.
So
we got 2 wrestlers here that
they're nice
similar in stature.
Yes.
Similar in stature, and so a lot of it's going to come down to aggressiveness and using.
Well, Josh is showing a lot of confidence here, and maybe that tournament up there in Fargo is the kind of thing that helped him gain some confidence. Even though he didn't place, he was in good company up there.
Now Josh got into that single leg attempt and stopped. And
Yeah.
you don't want to be able to stop. The first part of the whole takedown, single double, is to get in, on the
finish it.
legs. But the hardest part is to finish, and he wasn't able to finish on that one.
I
and
think
we got
he
a
was.
stalemate.
I think he was hoping for a stalemate there, but I did notice he did one good thing though. He's trying to pull that thigh into his chest and get an angle on him.
Yeah.
And you got to get angles. You can't go straight
Right,
into him.
and Nick Byer did a nice job of not allowing him to get
He
that
sprawled
angle.
on him pretty good.
Yes, he did.
They're experienced, both these guys.
Half shot by Nick Byer. Did get it on a leg. Now he's trying to get that angle. He's trying to create some angles.
Yeah. Now Noah was 19 and 14 last year for East, and he's experienced too. He's had some success over the years.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure why. There's 8 seconds left on the clock, and they stopped. The referee stopped it for the end of the first period.
Yeah, there's.
Must be a clock malfunction, but anyway.
Well, that can
end of the
happen.
first period, we had a 4-2 score in favor of Josh Block over Nick
And
Byer.
he's on the down position. You know what? I seeing the West kids do better than they have in the past is get their hips out on the bottom. He just did a sit out and turn under and
sit out and the head catch,
yeah,
and was able to get a reversal.
very basic, but
Very
getting your
effective.
hips out is most of the battle. And then they won't get your arms.
Block looks like he's going for a head lever on top.
Working a tight waist. Now he's
working
looking for
tight. Now looking for a chicken wing
Yep, chicken
or
wing.
an arm bar.
Easy.
We're seeing a lot of that tonight.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to get off your belly when you got your arms behind you.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with the head lever to break him down. And of course, you can ride with that. And a lot of times, official will think, well, he's trying for a fall, when sometimes you're just trying to ride.
Yeah.
He's working the wrist under, though. That's how you get there. Hand control.
Well, he's doing. Josh Block is doing a nice job of creating both sides too.
Right.
Working hands, but also working hips on both sides.
Well, Byer got his hips out. Now you can see they're scrambling. And now he's going to probably try to get another stalemate here. He's just hanging on. Lock his hands. I would think they're going to call that soon.
Yep.
Oh, now he might get a reversal.
Yep.
Well, he got the hand broke.
And Byer did a nice job of reaching back, controlling the hands.
Not quite yet.
Trying to break that grip.
Yeah, the official just about called a reversal there.
And we have 15 seconds left here in the second period.
Oh.
And that's 2 reversal.
Yeah, it's not sure on that call. Not sure about that. Yeah, it kind of came out. Well, they're going to probably discuss those back points. I'm not sure when the clock ran out. And we got blood, too, so that give them time to sort this out. But as it stands, you got near fall there?
We got near fall by the official.
Yeah,
So
I'm not.
we got blood time on Josh Block.
Yeah.
So we have at the end of the second period, we got an 8-4 score. Josh Block over Nick Byer.
I think.
And while we have the break, KTV is the home for Mankato and North Mankato's public access channels. You can find KTV on Charter Channel 181 and Consolidated Communications in HD on Channel 507 or Channel 7 in South Dakota. Don't have cable? KTV is also streaming online at accessktv.org/watch. You can find shows and learn more on how to get involved with public access TV. Plus, check out our sports schedule at accesstv.org/sports.
And this is airing live on a webcast. And this program will be re-aired tomorrow at 8 o'clock and subsequent days. So check their schedule and you can see this again. And as Coach said, Don said, there's going to be other programming as well for sports. So good source for local action. We should give a shout out to Benjamin Weber as the technician. He set us up with this, and they do a fine job.
They do a nice job, don't they? And I've seen a lot of their broadcasts. And,
Yeah.
and for those people that can't make it here, it's the way to watch it.
It is, and
Especially on a cold night like tonight.
yes, and at least on my end, I apologize. We're not professionals at this. We're just doing it because we like it and enjoy it. And and love to see it this action going. Hopefully, it can promote the sport a little bit, get people interested.
We got Nick Byer trying to come up a little bit. Now kicking out, trying to kick out.
Now I get a sense that
no
Josh
points have been scored yet, though. Even though he was away, but Byer came back in, and it was allowed block to grab that leg.
Yeah, he probably should have got away and force him to get up.
Yeah,
and take
get the one.
Yeah.
Because he really didn't have a setup when he came back into him.
And he let him get his leg.
Yeah.
He might get 2 here, though. Block is just hanging on to that leg. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's a good call there.
There's the escape. There's the escape.
Yep. And that's the correct call, I think.
Makes the score 8-5. We got just over a minute left here in the third period.
And I don't know if Block is. Well, there he picked up the action. I thought maybe he was starting to coast, but that was good action on his part. Came right back with a takedown. Now he's got him on his back.
And he's getting a near fall, Bill.
He's got a couple points racked up there. There it is, 2 near fall. And there's a little lesson there for Byer. He came kind of straight at him, and Block was in a lower position, just grabbed his leg.
Okay, intentional escape by Block makes the score 12-6.
But that was a nice shot. He took an angle on that.
Nick Byer's in deep on a leg.
The other leg.
You're looking to cut the corner.
Yeah.
Block is doing a nice job with the whizzer.
He's just trying to hang on now, it looks like.
Byer's coming up,
wants to get
looking
the
for
major.
maybe a cradle.
Yeah. They would like Block to get the major here, and there it is. Wow. That was nice coming back the other way. There it is.
And 2-point near fall.
And it makes it a major, 16-6.
It does. It makes the final score 16-6. Josh Block over Nick Byer.
Well, it looks like West kind of got the lineup the way they wanted. They got the matchups, and that's kind of unfortunate because East has some good kids. They just didn't match up well. But we'll see where we go from here. There's some more good wrestling yet to come.
That makes the team score of Mankato West Scarlets 20, Mankato East Cougars 3, going into 138-pound match.
Now, this is Rhett Weber's, is that correct?
Yes.
And I believe he's a sophomore.
Okay, for Mankato East, we've got Paul Hampton. He's a junior with a 6-4 record. And we got for Mankato West, we have Rhett Weber's, a sophomore, with a record of 1 win and 6 losses.
And I don't really know what to expect out of this match. It's hard to know. I haven't seen either of these fellas wrestle before. Well, Weber's,
that was a big takedown by Weber's.
Yeah, and he kept his hips in close and had good balance. But now we're getting a switch from the East wrestler, and that should be 2.
To reversal for Hampton.
Hansen did a nice switch there.
You know, and through that whole sequence, you know, Weber's did a nice job of taking him down, but then he let the pressure off his hips, allowed Hampton to come around, and Hampton did a nice job coming around.
He did.
And getting the reversal.
Okay.
And looks like Hampton's more comfortable on his feet because he allowed Weber's
Which is kind of interesting because Weber's took him down initially. Maybe he's feeling a little more confident now after they've reversed him. Yeah, nice shot, nice single leg.
As we said before, you know, the easy part is getting in the leg. The hard part is the finish. And we'll see what kind of finish he's going to come out with.
Well, Weber's is pushing the head and trying to get a whizzer, but Hansen's pretty long fella. He's in pretty good. Let's see how this turns out. Let's see who's got good technique here. This is kind of a technique situation. And you can't call a stalemate here. It's too much potential to score.
Yeah, it's an offensive position that's going on.
Well, I liked how he switched over to a double, but Weber's went right for the ankles. And this could end up in a stalemate. Oh, maybe not. He's going to load it well. They can't really let him have a takedown when he's off the mat entirely. I can see where people might want a takedown there, but we got to worry about the safety of the wrestlers.
It was a nice battle by both wrestlers.
It was. It was very fun to watch.
It was, and both wrestlers knew where they're at. They knew they're on the edge, and that they didn't have a whole lot of room to work with.
Well, that was a low single. He shot across the mat with no setup, and he almost got it. Nice counter. Looks like he's got a near side cradle locked up. Time's up. No back points. Oh, boy. I'm not sure about that one.
Okay, that makes the score 4-3 with no near fall on that one. That's Paul Hampton over Rhett Wiebers.
That was a nice near side cradle he put on him.
It was a nice cradle. And he set it up with a nice reversal.
And I kind of thought he had some points there, but we're not right down there to count it. He's a long fella. It's hard to lift him off the mat.
Good pressure by Wiebers on top right now.
He's got that arm underneath.
And he's got a pretty good deep waist in there too, trying to keep that pressure. And he's a lot of times, we're talking about pressure forward. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to pressure the guy forward. You want to put a lot of pressure on his hands, on his arms and hands. Makes it harder to come up.
I'm not sure why he went over the head there without having hand control, but he's probably trying to get a near cradle off that. He's working for a guillotine here. His hips are a little loose for that. When you put in the legs, you probably want to keep your hips tight to your opponent.
You want to keep them on top and tight.
Yep. And he kind of fell off the side of that, and that gets risky.
We got a 4-3 score. Minute 14 seconds to go in the second period.
So West has some assistants that wrestled with us over the years. Tim Wussall has been around West Wrestling for probably 15 years, and Drew Hood and then Evan Jakes and Tyler Jakes are helping out too. So they have some West connection there, so to speak. So it's kind of continuity of things as well in the coaching staff.
Okay, we have a situation here similar to what we had with Block in the last match, where he's just hanging on. Wiebers is just hanging on,
hoping for a stalemate.
And if you can get Hampton, if he would reach back and work on the hands, it's going to make his life a lot easier.
You know what? He just did that.
Just did that.
Well, I wasn't sure how these matches would pan out, but we've had some good wrestling these last few matches. There aren't any quick, fast pins tonight. It's some serious wrestling going on. That's fun to watch.
From both sides.
Yes.
You can see that both sides really want this, and the athletes that they're putting out there are well conditioned and doing a nice job.
Yeah, I got to hats off to John and to Dustin for keeping their programs going and doing a good job with these guys. And I give credit to these wrestlers for being dedicated. It's a hard sport, and it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. It isn't easy. If it was easy, everybody'd wrestle.
Yeah.
These guys work hard. They deserve to get some attention and accolades for what they do.
And Hampton has got Wiebers down pretty flat on his belly.
Yeah,
Red has got to, he's got to work for some hand control if he can, and then try to build a base.
Yeah,
Hampton's doing a good job of keeping him off that base.
Driving on those toes and pressure on the hips.
Also has an arm bar on the near side.
You got to be careful. You force these things, but he's going to get a tilt. I think he counted two.
He got two. Got a 2 count on that one.
That's. I think what Paul would like to do there is try to get some major decision, get this match a little closer for East. it is, 2 near fall. They got a 5-point lead with a minute to go. I don't know if he's going to decide to go neutral or try to tilt him again.
Hampton throws in a pretty rugged crossface.
I think,
but anything they do, any action they're going to have, they're pretty close to the out of bounds line.
I'm not sure what Weber's mindset is now, but I think he's just trying to survive the end of this match because Hansen's really dominating at this point. Really working that ride.
You know, we've got about 30 seconds left in this match, and I've got an 8-3 lead. Paul Hampton over Rhett Wiebers at 138 pounds.
I see how he switched sides there. That takes a little bit out of a guy from the bottom. There's another tilt.
That's the second time he's done that.
Yeah.
And he does a nice job with that. Nice ride. Not afraid to go bring him across his body to get those near fall points.
Well, there's 7-point lead with 10 seconds to go. I'm not sure what you do if you want to try to get that major. I think it's going to end up just a regular decision, which in a way is kind of a victory for West here.
And there it is. And the final score of this match is 10-3, Paul Hampton over Rhett Wiebers. And that puts 3 more on the board for Mankato East. That makes the dual meets score right now. Mankato West 20, Mankato East 6, and going into 145 pounds.
And this is the midway point of the meet. And so this is by no means this thing is over. There's a lot more wrestling to go.
Okay, so we have Jalen Reed for Mankato West, and Jalen is a sophomore, and I believe this is his debut.
This is his
on the
first match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and for Mankato East we have Colin Byer, and his brother just wrestled.
Nick just
wrestled a couple matches before.
And that was a good match.
Yeah, and Colin is a freshman with a 4-6 record.
And you can see the inexperience with the West wrestler.
That was a nice aggressive takedown by
Yes,
Byer
it was.
coming out and not allowing Reed to relax.
He looks like he's working for kind of a chin drop or maybe a chicken wing off this short sit situation. If I could give Jalen a tip, I'd say pick your head up a little bit.
Pick your head up and try to control some hands.
Yeah.
Try to get some hands.
Looks like you're going to get a tilt there for a couple points.
2-point near fall. 2-point near
these
fall.
last 2 wrestlers for East like to run that tilt series. Put a chicken wing in and roll through. Hold them with your toes and your knees.
And that's not unusual to see in wrestling. We have 2 wrestlers that are in similar weight areas to have similar styles.
Yeah,
of
we
wrestling.
noticed that down below for East. They did a couple of the same things.
You know, when you wrestle with the same guy in practice all the time, you're gonna pick up some of those
Yes,
similar styles, some of those similar moves.
But I think in general, though, I'd say the East likes to run that chicken wing series. But they come back nice with that tilt. There's a nice scramble by Jalen.
Yep. Nice reversal by Jalen Reed.
Now that wound up a 2-2. Now we have a switch back. Whoop. He missed
And
that
keep 'em
lock
going.
hands, but that's okay. That was a quick
there's a
reversal fall.
For Colin Byer from Mankato East. The fall was in a minute 29 over Jalen Reed. And that brings the team score, the Scarlets with 20 and Cougars with 12.
And that was a big boost for East. They needed something to get them ignited. And 2 wins in a row
They
now.
did.
They have a little momentum going.
Yeah, that was a nice match for Byer. Now at 152. Okay, for Mankato West, we've got Jaden Grimm, who's a sophomore with an 0-4 record, against Wyatt Betts, who's a junior with a 2-6 record.
So a couple of inexperienced guys, perhaps a little bit, and maybe a good match for them, kind of evenly suited for each other.
There's a couple of shots by Grimm, and he's not bringing his hips to the party. You got to get your hips in.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to lift if you get your hips under you. Your base of support under you, and it just makes it really tough if you don't.
And if you are going to have a single leg like he had, you need to get an angle on him. And he kind of pulled it in but didn't turn.
Nice job there by Grimm by controlling the hands. He was able to control the hands and just stepped out, was able to get the escape. Makes the score 2-1 with a minute to go in the first period. And tonight's broadcast of KTV Sports is brought to you by BLC Studios, a division of Bethany Lutheran College. To learn more, go to blc.edu.
Well, for West, the upcoming meets for West, they got on Thursday, January 12th, they'll be at St. Peter in a triangular with Glencoe Silver Lake. And on Tuesday, January 17th, they'll be at St. Clair with Medford in a triangular. And they'll be back home again on Thursday, January 19th against Waseca. Looks like we got a pin situation.
That looks pretty tight.
We used to call that a stretcher.
And that was a big fall by Wyatt Betts from Mankato East.
East is storming back.
And that makes the score now, Mankato West Scarlets 20, Mankato East Cougars 18. And what a big difference 2 matches make.
Yeah, we got 3 wins in a row, and they're kind of on a roll right now.
Okay, for Mankato West, we have Dustin Mueller as a junior, 7-4 record with 2 falls.
And he's showing some improvement from last year.
He has. And for East, we have, was it Nathan Wyman?
I believe so.
A
there's
junior,
a lateral drop.
A junior with a 1-4 record.
Wow, he threw that lateral drop pretty hard. I'm not sure Mueller can get out of it. There he is. He's rolling through. Well, those lateral drops they can catch you off guard.
They can. And those are big point moves.
Yep.
And Wyman was able to get a 4-point move out of that.
Well, Mueller was fortunate to get out of that.
I always thought lateral drops was high risk, high reward
moves.
And you don't see them all the time. But when they can be effective.
Yeah, that lateral drop is it can throw the best wrestler.
Similar to a headlock, which you saw earlier, which ended up in a pin too.
There's a nice fireman situation. That reminded me of his dad a little bit. His dad used to run that fireman's.
Yeah.
Corey.
Yeah, it was like a fireman's high crotch series, and then he just changed off to a single.
Now he's going to do kind of a ball and chain tilt here. Well, this is going to be an entertaining match, I think. We haven't seen the end of this one yet. He's trying to run him off. It didn't work.
Okay. Nice job by Wyman. Getting the escape makes the score 5-3 just at the end of the first period.
Well, as we said at the start of the match, this was going to be a close endeavor all the way through. And, it's hard to say how this is going to come out.
Okay, we got a 5-3 score. Wyman over Mueller at the 160-pound weight class.
So back to the West schedule. They also on the 21st of January will be wrestling in a tournament at Lake Crystal Welcome Memorial. And then they'll be back home again February 7th against Mayo. I should mention on January 14th is a youth tournament at West called the Scarlet Open. And if you have a young wrestler, that's a good place to come and get your kid involved. Here we have a reversal.
Reversal, and Mueller's looking for some back points. He's got the arm barred. He's trying to keep pressure on the hips if he can. Wyman is trying to come up, trying to negate that pressure that he has, and he's able to do that.
He couldn't quite get back points out of that. He said this is going to be a close match all the way.
Nice set out for an escape for Wyman. Makes the score 6-5. Got a minute left in the second period of the 160-pound match.
There's another fireman's. And Wyman has an idea for a counter and isn't quite working. It's hard to pull that guy across your body.
It is. It is. You have no leverage to be able to pull a guy across your body like that. But that was a 2-2. Two takedown, two near fall as a multiple point move for Mueller. Makes the score 9-6.
You know, and as much as I thought you could say this is going to go tooth and nail all the way, it could also end up someone on their back pretty fast. Guys are pretty physical. And I can't predict who that would be. They're both pretty strong.
A little side roll, looked like a little side roll attempt by Wyman.
Maybe an elevator off of that.
Yeah, a little elevator.
And I didn't think I'd ever see that again, but I saw it with Oklahoma State did that a couple times against the Gophers, which surprised me. I didn't think that showed that move anymore.
There it is. End of the second period. We've got a 9-6 score.
Barn burner.
We've got Dustin Mueller over Nathan Wyman.
And Wyman took down, so he can score.
I don't think the scoring is done yet for this match.
Oh, heavens no. And this is pivotal, really. I mean, whoever wins this could make a big outcome on the whole match. So important for both teams.
Mueller's throwing in a half on the near side. Now he's jumped over to the far side. Now he's trying to throw a half on this side. Needs to commit to it though.
Yes.
You know, if he's going to do it, you have to commit to it. And he's kind of laying back on it a little bit.
Yeah, as a coach, I'm not comfortable riding with that high. But if you watch some of the elite wrestlers, they do that. They don't care. But that's what can happen. And this is huge for East.
And that's exactly what could happen when you don't keep that pressure.
And
that's a fall.
That's a big win for Mankato East.
That's a fall for Nate Wyman from Mankato East. And that puts the team score at Mankato East Cougars 24, Mankato West Scarlet 20, going into the 170-pound match. And that was a big turnaround, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, and as we said at the start, we couldn't predict how this would turn out. And that match was unpredictable. That could have gone either way. And, you know, they're both strong kids. Okay, looks like a little strategizing going on here.
Okay, so we have Simon Koenig, Jr. with a 5-6 record, including that 5-6 record are 4 falls. And Mankato East is forfeiting to them.
Now this might be, East is a little light on the upper weights, but they have a couple good kids.
Wrestling at 182 pounds for Mankato West, Noah Leichen. And for Mankato East, Kieran Hendel.
Okay, and 182 pounds, we've got Noah Langston from Mankato East, who's a freshman. I mean, from Mankato West, Noah Langston from Mankato West, who's a freshman. And this is his first varsity start.
Right, we've had 3 of their kids, their first matches tonight.
Against Kieran Hendel a sophomore from Mankato East with an 0-4 record. So we have a sophomore against a freshman.
Well, they both look pretty strong. They look like they've been working out, but
Yeah.
maybe don't have the experience yet.
Yeah, but they both look like they have the physical ability.
Yes, they do.
To get the job done.
And, you get up to 182, you're going to start seeing a little bit. Well, he hung on to that arm.
Did a nice job hanging on that arm. Was able to keep that and prevent that takedown from happening.
A little more experience, he probably could have done a short sit Kelly out of that. Dumped him, but that takes experience.
Collar tie by both wrestlers. Change in level by Langston there. Did a nice job of changing levels, but you got to be able to finish it.
Yeah.
You change levels.
There he is in that Kelly situation
he
again. Still got it.
Still has that arm. Does a nice job of holding that arm.
Yeah, it's a little loose, so. Yeah.
2 points, takedown, Kendall.
Well, I think you mentioned West's single victory in a duel was against John Marshall, and East has had some close matches. I think they dropped a match to Austin by 1 point. So they're not. It's not like they haven't been in the mix, and that's going to happen tonight. It's going to be pretty close at the end, I think. This match is another one now that's important.
Yeah. Well, they all increase in importance as
Yes,
you
they
get
do.
farther and farther into the meet.
Hey, of course, yeah, especially with the score this close. And then, we said at the outset that it doesn't matter what their records are when they East and West wrestle. It's going to be a tough one.
So we got a score at the end of the first period. We got Kieran Hendel 2 and Noah Langston 1.
Langston chooses the bottom position.
East has a few meets coming up themselves. They have a tournament coming up on Saturday at Tri-City United in Montgomery. That's a Saturday tournament. They're at home against Mayo on January 12th, so if you want to catch that. And then they're going to be at Prairie Winds, of all places. Might be interesting to check that out on Friday, January 20th against Faribault. And that should be a good match. It's at Prairie Winds, Friday, January 20th.
That'll be a great venue to host
a dual meet. Wonderful venue, yes. And you want to see the new school and watch some wrestling, check that out. And then they'll be home again against Northfield on February 2nd. And I believe they have their tournament on February 3rd, and West is at that as well. So look forward to those events coming up.
One of the better tournaments you're going to find in southern Minnesota.
Right.
That is a great tournament.
It's a fun tournament. And West will be hosting the first round of section wrestling team later in February. So look forward to another home event for, hopefully West will be in that one. We don't know how that'll pan out. But West will host on.
Yeah, they'll only host if they're the higher seed.
Right.
We've got a 2-1 score with a minute left in the second period between Kieran Hendel and Noah Langston.
And
now
Noah
we got 2-2 score.
That's a nice shot. He got an angle on him. He didn't quite finish, but he got the angle.
Did get a nice angle on it. Got to go finish, but he's cutting across.
Strong
cutting across. Did a nice job of cutting across on that far leg, trapping that far hip.
Yeah, didn't quite finish, but got to give the East guy credit for getting some balance and pulling out of that.
Yeah, I think he got a little aggressive, got a little greedy, got that far hip, but then he went right to a half, looked like, maybe a cradle series or a cradle situation, gave up the takedown.
And these guys are a lot alike. I mean, they do kind of the same moves and same kind of balance. I suspect they're probably pretty good athletes in football. And that was a nice head snap by the East wrestler.
Yeah, it was a nice head snap by Hendel. Did a nice job posting the head and just circling around.
And that's just pure body position. Being in the right position.
End of the second period, we got a 4-2 score. Kieran Hendel over Noah Langston.
And the East wrestler is going to have the down position.
You say this is a must-win for East Cougars, I think it's a big win, must win for Mankato West
Oh,
Scarlets
heavens,
too.
yes, it is.
So you got two athletes out here that are not only trying to win for themselves, but winning for their team.
Now, we've got 3 matches to go, and it's one of them might be decided, but the other 2 are still up in the air after this. So
Hendel does a nice job clearing his hips, being able to come out and coming around for 2.
you know what?
And increases his lead to 6-2.
You know, winning the 3rd period says a lot about conditioning too. This East wrestler's in pretty good shape.
And Noah Langston's doing a nice job. You know, he's working hard there. But, first time out in a varsity meet,
Right.
East-West duel, that's asking a lot of a freshman.
Well, I am impressed by his strength. He needs some experience. But he does some basic moves fairly well.
He does.
His
He does.
takedown shot.
And he'll learn,
Yeah.
learn body position, learn angles. He's not a better teacher than experience.
Exactly. And this is a good experience for him.
Hey, we got 40 seconds to go in the 3rd period. We got 6-3 score. Kieran Hindle over Noah Langston.
I think Kieran just wants to dominate his head, snap him down. He's got a good body position, not letting him get in too deep.
Noah's coming. Got in on the leg, but it's coming straight in. Got to create that angle like you talked about before. Hindle did a nice job of breaking him down and just scooting around behind for the 2.
He did earlier in the match. He had a good angle. This time, maybe a little fatigued. Well, that's a good match for Kieran. Did a nice job.
On the final score of the 182-pound match, we have Kieran Hindle from Mankato East. 8-3 winner over Noah Langston from West. And that makes the team score. Mankato East Cougars 27, Mankato West Scarlets 26.
Coming down to the wire with 3 matches to go. And of course, we've got Zach Jakes at 220, which it might be a given, but you never know. We've seen strange things in these matches.
Okay, so at 195 pounds for West, we have Rylan Mosier, as a junior, with 6-3 record against Darnell Hines, a junior with a 2-4 record.
And they're tied up a little tight there.
Yeah, it's hard to do anything when you're ear to ear.
Right.
You got to create that space to be able to do any of the moves, and so they have a hard collar tie, especially by the East Cougar.
And Ryan almost
Hines.
made a big mistake there. He almost walked right into a headlock. He got to lower his levels a little bit. And it's a little unhappy with the way Ryan pushed his opponent off the mat.
Yeah.
And
I gave him a little extra there
Yeah.
at the mat. And
And,
you want to break clean.
that got the East bench a little riled up, and probably rightfully so. And if Coach Vitale could talk to Ryan, he'd say, wrestle the match, don't get emotional.
Half shot by Rylan Mosier on that one. You want to be able to set it up. You're not gonna get a lot of takedowns just by shooting in.
No.
And you want to try to get a little closer to your opponent too, so you create that less space.
Well, Darnell has some experience. He's been around a few years, and Ryan has too. He's kind of physically advanced for his years.
Yep.
He's worked hard and good shape, but
They're both juniors. They've been around.
Yep.
That's not their first rodeo.
No.
It's not their first East-West duel either. So they've both been around.
And Ryan had some success earlier this season in some tournaments. I think he won a tournament earlier in the year, and it's just we're not seeing a lot of action quite yet. He just tried to do a step by and out of bounds.
And while we have a minute, KTV is your home for community interest programming and local sports coverage. Like KTV on Facebook at www.facebook.com/accessktv. And at the end of the first period, we've got no score, Bill. And I think this might be the first match tonight we haven't had any points scored in the first period.
It's starting to look like upper weight matches a little bit. You know, not as much action on the mat.
Both wrestlers are more interested in feeling each other out and you know, maybe testing the strength.
Yeah, and at these weights, you know, it's a little harder to push that mass around. They're both pretty strong fellas. We should give a shout out to the director tonight, is Greg Vandermuth. Oh, now we got a chicken or a half Nelson running.
Got a half Nelson and
he's
a far
got it
wrist.
In pretty tight.
Half Nelson and a far wrist
And
right.
there's a fall.
And that's the fall.
Well, that was a nice half Nelson.
And that's a fall for Ryland Mosier from Mankato West. Fall in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And that makes the team score right now. Mankato West Scarlets 32, Mankato East Cougars 27.
Well, that might have done it for East, because they're going to run up against Zach Jakes here. And I don't know that they have anybody that can wrestle with him. But they got to go out on the mat and wrestle.
You have to give credit to Ryland Mosier on that one. You know, he was able to trap the far wrist and then saw an opening, you know, when Darnell Hines left his arm up, saw the opening, threw a half on, and just really drove it.
He
was able to create the angle, was able to drive it.
And
so we had a double forfeit at 2:20, Bill.
So,
and so both East and West put their 220 pounders up a weight and going to wrestle them at 285. And so at West, we've got Zachary Jakes, a junior, and Zachary is 13-0 with 8 falls, ranked number 1 in the state against Luther Mark, also a junior with a 1-2 record.
And Zachary is over 100 wins now in his career. Second in the state last year as a 220-pounder. And won the Rumble on the Red as a 3rd seed, I believe, and came through and won it. No, he was 1st seed, I guess. I'd have to go back and look. But he beat some good wrestlers. In fact, I think he had 3 falls and 2 major decisions and en route to winning that tournament against some of the best wrestlers in the country. So he's looking good this year.
And when you're talking about 220 pounders, Zach Jakes is a full 220 pounds.
Yeah,
he fills out a singlet really nice.
Yes, he does. You know,
legitimately 220 pounder.
Every year goes on, he's looking more chiseled. And
2 points, take down.
he's rated number 1 ahead of a Stewartville wrestler named Travis Capel, and I'm kind of hoping to run into each other sometime this year. I'm not sure that'll happen.
That was a power double by Zach Jakes. Yeah. And he's just driving through, lowering his level, able to step in, driving through Luther Mark.
Yeah, this looks like a pretty good chicken wing. And there it is.
And there's the fall for Zachary Jakes. In 1 minute and 5 seconds for Zachary Jakes. And that makes the final team score tonight. Mankato West Scarlets 38, Mankato East Cougars 27. And Bill, you know, it was a lot what we thought it would be. You know, it's going to be back and forth. Some people taking advantage of mistakes from the opponent. But it was a back and forth duel, and it was great action.
It was great action. There was a little bit of strategy going on. I think East came in here fully expecting to be able to do some things and maybe take West down. West kind of got some matchups the way they wanted. But I have to give credit to some of those East wrestlers. They pulled off some upsets where they needed to, and things just didn't go their way. But I have to say that the East wrestlers fundamentally look real good.
Yeah.
I think John Dirks is doing a fine job with those guys.
Yeah.
And I have to also say Dustin's got his guys in pretty good shape, and they're wrestling almost like mid-season form coming right out of break. So they both look pretty good tonight.
Yeah, it was very entertaining for the fans and hopefully for the people out there, you know, watching this broadcast.
Right.
So on behalf of KTV and on Bill Durbon and myself, Don Kruzmark, we enjoyed bringing you this broadcast, and you have a good night.
Thank you. We'll see you again next year.